I'm Pern.
And I'm Dave.
Welcome to the show, where we talk about everything from movies, music, sports, and TV.
And stories from the rest of our lives.
Things we don't talk about are politics and religion.
And this is how we all stay friends.
Okay, let's talk. So I have to ask you, when you drive out, there's a new restaurant that's near where you get off at the exit to go up to Charlestown. And it used to just be a McDonald's at that exit.
Okay.
And now they've got a new sign on there next to the McDonald's for a new restaurant. And it's Homespun Shakes and Burgers.
No way.
So I don't know about you, but I've never had a homespun burger before.
Wow.
So I don't know what that even would taste like. Is it?
It comes in a cup.
Does it come in a cup?
It's blender cup. It's blender burgers.
It's like pizza in a cup.
Yes,
Like this is the best cup of pizza guy. He's
he drove
much
the
better.
old guy. He drove the old guy out of business.
Drove him out of business. Much better than the old cup of pizza
Much
guy.
better than the old pizza
So
guy.
do we
Pizza
need to
in a cup
take a
Oh my
field
gosh!
trip?
Do we get to do
And
food tests now?
We might have to do a field trip and go like out to dinner, like because it's about halfway from you to here and me to there. So we could meet in the middle,
Of course.
maybe have dinner and have a homespun milkshake
Shake and
and a homespun
hamburger.
burger, which I'm
Homespun.
kinda
Maybe that's like
scares
a
me.
theme, not like a process.
You mean? Well, I don't know. I don't know. And then it's like are we just going to
it's
drive?
just a
It's-
theme of being at home,
It's-
kind of.
It's close to
burger
getting
and-
out towards West Virginia, so I'm like, are we just driving up to somebody's house and they're going to make us food, and then we
Your
pay
grandma.
them for it?
It's
yeah,
your grandma's
exactly.
cooking, and she's actually in the kitchen right now making burgers and shakes.
Right. Exactly. So that's what I'm a little curious about.
But is that the only thing? They've got to make more than just burgers and shakes, right? I
Well,
mean, it's going
obviously
to
they've
be
got
everything
and all that stuff.
Yeah, okay.
But, so, like I said, I think we need to take a field trip out to go see what
Homespun actually
shakes and
is.
burgers is.
Okay. Well,
Like,
I
do they
get that.
put like the beef in a blender?
I'm telling
Do
you,
they-
maybe it's all process and they blender everything and then like process it out and cook it. Like they blender all the hamburger meat and then they put it on the grill and then they cut burgers out of it, like little muffins almost.
I think we need to
Or
investigate.
biscuits.
I think we need to investigate.
Well, we're going to
find
need
out.
we're going to have to see how the sausage is made. We're going to have to go into the back and they're
Right.
going to let us know. So
Right.
we can say we're doing it for
the
news
for the
purposes.
podcast, and,
exactly.
yeah, but
Scientific reasoning.
And we'll
It should
possibly
work,
leave
right?
them a review on our podcast.
Well, that gets everybody in there, right?
right? Exactly. The 3 people that listen to us.
Right, exactly. Come all the way out to Winchester.
Right. Come on out. No, it's
Yeah,
not even.
there it is.
It's before Berryville.
Is
So
it that close?
It's in the middle. It's like right in the middle. It's where you go up to Charlestown to go up to Charlestown.
Oh, 340.
Yes.
Okay.
It's at that exit.
That egg. Oh,
When
no,
you
I
go
didn't
home
even
tonight,
notice
when
that.
you go home tonight, look for the sign when you get there, and you'll see it, and it'll say there'll be like the Golden Arches for McDonald's, and then next to it's the now Homespun.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't mean
Shakes
it's
and
right
burgers.
there off that exit, though.
Well, it has to.
Well,
That's
no.
the whole purpose.
Well,
You
yes
put it
and
off
no.
the exit.
Well, okay, but it's so Berryville's not exactly small, right?
It's
there
kinda
are-
spread out.
It is a little spread out,
Like,
right?
yeah.
They have a main street area, but then if you kind of go each way, there's a giant high school. You go all the way to the end of their main drag.
I've never
and it's-
investigated Berryville.
Well, I've had a little experience.
Okay.
But there is a really good pizza place there. Oh my gosh! See, now everybody's screaming at the mic or at the radio right now. The name of it.
It's Pomaducci's or
no,
something
it's
like that,
not.
or
I think
some,
it's just
it's some sort of
Al's.
pizza.
It's not
Al's.
It's
Al's
not
pizza.
Al's.
I thought
It's
Al's
Mario's.
was in Percival.
I think it's Mario's.
Oh, that's a
Al's was in
Mario's too?
Percival, but
Years
it's
ago.
gone.
Oh, yeah, it
So
was
this
that
is
little
a new mom and
standalone
pop.
building.
It's a really good one. I think it's
okay.
Mario's. I want to say Mario's.
Okay, we'll have to investigate that.
Again, these are all the corrections that I'm going to have to make because along with that, I was told that I needed to get my facts straight when I bring people up because I forgot to mention
We
the guy
don't.
from the Jeopardy.
We don't have to get our facts straight.
Disney
though.
Plus and
we
Jeopardy
don't claim
was,
to know everything, and we don't
Inside the
claim
Magic
to be.
was the name of
Inside
his
the Magic.
channel.
That's the YouTube channel.
That's his channel, and he's very good at what he does, and he puts one out every freaking week. And of course, we're Disney files, so we love answering questions about Disney stuff.
of the Disney stuff,
Yeah.
but yet you're terrible at the Disney parks on the heads up game on my phone.
Well, hey, the questions were impossible.
They
You
were
don't
not.
crack.
They were not.
They were
Come on,
pretty bad.
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Big surprise. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Wasn't that difficult.
It was kind of difficult.
Dave is the worst at heads up. We tried doing something as like a warm up ritual, like, oh, let's play a game of heads up just to get loosened up a little before we do our show. And it was just like, one was Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and he's like, the guy that's the one with the, I'm like, pass. And then I go back and look at it and I'm like, Dooku, come on. You don't know who Dooku
there was a bit
is?
of, well,
like,
okay.
oh,
Well, it was trying to figure out, no, it was Mace Windu.
Oh, Mace Windu.
It was
Oh, yeah.
Windu.
I was like,
right,
purple
'cause it was
lightsaber. Purple
Samuel L.
lightsaber.
Jackson, 'cause that was
Lightsaber
your
says bad
clue. Samuel L.
motherfucker on
Jackson.
it.
I'm like,
yeah.
that was your clue. And I got it in my head. It was just coming up with the names is
right.
tough.
He
when
just
it's
had no clue on Mace Windu.
On the fly.
I gave him so many, and it was like, no, pass. I'm like, okay, we're not doing this anymore.
Hey,
no
good
more heads up
tie-in,
before.
because we also have to have a moment of silence for Carl Weathers passed away.
Carl Weathers, yes,
and he
Star
was
Wars
in Mandalorian. So
he was
there's a
great
tie
in
in
the Mandalorian.
there.
It was
So
so great to see him come back in the Mandalorian.
Every 80s and 90s movie that really had that character actor role in it, he was in it. So
yep, absolutely.
We do have to kind of have if we could, a little.
Was he in Action Jackson?
He was
Action Jackson.
I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't Action Jackson.
No,
he
was in Commando. He was in Predator. He was in
To the Chopper.
all the Rambos now, or the I'm sorry, not the Rambos, but the boxing ones.
Rocky?
Jesus. Why is this is the problem. This is why there's so many people screaming at their radios right now.
All three of them.
And they tell me that after listening to our stuff, that they were screaming at stuff when I hesitate on the answers because they know the answer. So yeah, that's fun.
But again, we don't claim to know everything. We're not perfect about everything. If we don't know something, sorry.
It comes up. And if we have to have it on our brain, it better be in our brain, because I can tell you right now, this is the struggle as I get older.
People aren't coming to this podcast to listen for like factual news or like, this isn't CNN. We're not trying to get the story straight. It's just two idiots talking about nothing.
Please don't fact check.
Okay, yes, don't fact check because we're going to be wrong on so much.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you guys started a new home project?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Going on next?
It's the excitement is ramping up as we decide to get another greenhouse. To attach to our
joked
other
about that.
greenhouse.
Adding a wing to your greenhouse.
Adding another wing. We are actually okay. So it was that. Oh, it's going to be an outrageous albatross out there on the deck, and the deck's not going to be able to hold it. But then it was like, we need the space. We need the space. So So tomorrow is our pick up the greenhouse day.
Wow.
We're headed out to Costco and using the
Costco sells greenhouses.
Okay, it is it's like out of the box. You get two giant boxes and you got to put the whole thing together. It's a giant connects kind of thing, Lego kind of scenario where you just have to.
Do they still make connects?
I think that's the thing. Is that a thing?
I don't know if they still make connects.
I don't know. It's
anyway,
maybe a choking hazard
connects,
for a child.
Lego, whatever.
Right. Yeah. So we got the building blocks of a. It's all in two boxes. You take these two boxes, you shove them in the back of your car. They're heavy. It's wood, and
we'll get assistance from a teamwork.
Oh, they will, because I have been having some serious back problems. My back is just not right
because we're old.
And I've got to get healthy because I've got a tournament coming up in 2 weeks after the Super Bowl.
Oh, gotcha.
We're headed out to a doubles tournament with my son here.
His and hers, right?
His and his.
Oh, his and his doubles. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did his last one go? The Winter Fest.
He did amazing.
How did that go?
He was great. Thanks for bringing that up.
Sure.
He did amazing. He did. I think he finished third-ish. I think it was a tie in third. Like there was he was tied for third or maybe fourth. But when he got paired up with one of the professional guys that were there, they finished first. So he got like a first place for that part. So yeah, it was a very good tie-in.
And that goes on his permanent record?
It will not. It wasn't a sanctioned event as opposed to, because it was a
golf event.
Yeah, but it was a fundraiser. So they did it for hunger. The local guys, the group, they put, made up it's donations, so the money that went towards the feeding the hungry.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice.
I'm sure that there's a group
way to go, Chase.
And
way to go.
Thing tied it together. So yes, he did a great job. He's very good, and he's.
It really wet? Because wasn't that after the rain?
Surprisingly enough, it wasn't as wet as it should have been, but it was warmer. It was definitely.
Oh, it was that little heat wave we had after
we had that pocket of
for
niceness
like 2 days or something like that. Oh, that's right. That's right. I do.
Yeah. So it actually was a nice little time out there.
Yeah. So, okay. So greenhouse is going up tomorrow.
Yes. Yep.
And then
the whole week is just a joke because Thursday is putting league, and then the Super Bowl is coming up. And I got to watch my weight because now I think a lot of my problems is my back, is my weight, so I can't like make the chili I want to make.
So we're not making 6 different chilies.
We're not making 6 kinds of chilies.
Well, it used to be 2, right? It was like one was like hot and one was mild, right?
Oh no! See, what would happen is that he would.
It's been a while since I've been over.
He would
for your
put
house,
sriracha in it, so that's I don't have to worry too much about that. We make it, and then he gets to add a little more flavor to it. It's not spicy.
I love spicy.
I know you do.
I love the spicy.
I just can't take it. With the recent issues with my stomach. So
I gotcha. So over when COVID happened in 2020, we went down this rabbit hole of like I ordered hot sauces online, like different ones, because they do like the hot wing challenge or whatever that.
Did you do that?
Yeah, we did it, and Karin and I did it, and the one that was the hottest one is called Chocolate Plague.
Okay,
and I don't even remember what it is on like the Scoville like hotness level, but like it was one of those things that it was the hottest one, and we built up to it. We had like 5 or 6, no, maybe 6 or 7 different bottles that I bought. And I mean, each bottle's like, $10, $12. I bought them on Amazon or whatever and ordered them and had them shipped because it was COVID. We weren't going anywhere. We had nothing to do. Hey, let's have a hot sauce challenge.
Why not?
So we did that one night, and we get to Chocolate Plague, and it was like Anchorman. Like I immediately regret this decision.
Really?
Like it was
You think with the name chocolate, it would have, a lot of that. It would cut it a little.
They lied to you. There was nothing
What was
chocolatey
that
taste about. We were in tears like for a good 10 to 15 minutes. You start thinking, is this going to pass? Is it going to minimize? Like you were drinking milk, we're trying to do everything, and it was just like, oh my gosh, this is like, why did I do this? Why do I hate myself? What was the purpose of this?
So when it burns, okay. So I'm not very spiced. I can't tell.
Yeah,
But when that one actually does start hitting you, where does it hit first? Like on the tongue? Is it in the throat?
It's usually tongue, and then it'll move down the throat, and then it moves up like into your total. It just takes over your thoughts and your heads, and you're just like you feel like your head is on fire, and you're just. No, it's not like indigestion or anything like burning down like in your gut. I mean, but it's like definitely throat, mouth, everything is mostly mouth because you're just trying to.
Now, someone out there is saying, "Oh, you loser! That was nothing. I've done that before, and I eat that with my eggs." I would challenge you.
Yeah, so if you eat Chocolate Plague with your eggs, then you are insane. And you don't can be committed because
your taste buds are
you
dull,
don't or, just cut the tongue out.
COVID.
It's a straight like swallowing oysters or something. Just like because you are not tasting it. So then my kids, I still had the Chocolate Plague because they obviously don't eat it every day,
of course.
So my 3 kids, one night at dinner, I grilled chicken legs or something, and they were like, "Oh, let's do the hot sauce, Dad. Do that." I'm like,
"Oh no!"
I said, "I'm going to do chocolate. I will put Chocolate Plague on here, which is the hottest one. There's one that's right in the middle called Scorned Woman.
Okay,
I love because it is just the right enough kick in the whats to like
flavorly.
Oh my god, it's got a good flavor and it's got that kick to it, and it's like, yeah, this is spicy. Okay. That's good. I'm like, whoo, it's it's hot. You start like fanning yourself, but it's not Chocolate Plague where you want to just go crawl up in a corner and die because it was so insanely hot. So my kids are like, oh, do it. I'm like, okay, and I told them, I said, I will do some Chocolate Plague on my chicken, but you guys have to try a dab of it on the tip of your pinky finger.
Just
like put it on your tongue.
Like what I would put on my whole chicken.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, I actually put stuff on mine. I said just like I put a little in like the little cap and they just like dipped their pinky fingers in it and they did it. My oldest was a champ. He was just like, whoa. I mean, he could tell, and he was just like, his eyes, got like big and was just like, oh my gosh. And we had milk ready for everybody and stuff like that. And then Jilly did it, and Miles did it. And Miles was the one who he was completely infatuated with trying it, but also scared to death of trying it.
Oh, okay.
So when he did it, and it was just like, I mean, like, he drank the milk, and I'm like, guys, it'll wear off in a couple minutes. You just did the tiniest little dab, but then, and then after it wore off, Miles was like, I did Chocolate Plague. I did it.
So, right?
I
Yeah,
did
get the
chocolate
shirt.
plague. It was like, right? You actually get him into a little
Get
t-shirt.
him a
I
t-shirt.
survived chocolate plague.
Hey,
yeah.
his next Christmas ornament. That's what
Right.
it's going to say.
And my wife and I were joking, like that the police are going to come to our door, like you're trying to kill your kids with hot sauce. What
Well,
are
luckily
you doing?
you didn't
So
post it anywhere.
We didn't. But now this is going up. But that was. I think we're out. I think we're out of the statute of limitations.
Yeah,
now.
I think hot sauce statute of limitations is.
I think we passed.
Is
so
a thing.
And yes, and our kids are all doing alive and well and doing great.
Yes.
And straight A students, and I love my kids. So,
perfect.
Yeah.
Even though you tortured them with hot sauce.
Even though we taught, but they asked. I didn't force them to eat it. I did not go
They
to them
wanna
and
be
say,
like mommy and
"You
daddy."
guys
That was the
have to-"
thing.
Well, my wife won't even touch. Like there was one that was like an Indian one that my wife likes, and so we still have that one in the fridge. But the Scorned Woman, I really like. I got that off Amazon for like $11 or $12. I highly recommend it if you just like something with a good kick to it that has some spiciness.
So this wasn't like something you could buy in like a suitcase and you just get like 8 or 10 of them. You went out and got individual ones.
There are ones you can buy. Like here's your packet of what is the show the guy has that's the Hot Wing Challenge? Is that the Hot Wing Challenge show?
Let's go with that.
About?
Yeah, all the stars.
He has
come.
celebrities on. Yeah,
and
they go through the different, and they have the last dab and all that
again,
stuff. You
more,
can buy the
fact
pack.
checking that's going to happen,
right? And you can buy his pack of 5, 6, 7, 8 sauces or whatever, and end with the last dab and stuff like that.
Right.
But I went and looked at like the Scoville hot rating and see what I could find, and the Chocolate Plague was actually hotter than the last dab from his.
Oh, okay.
So it was like. It was up there. The only thing is the actual flavor of the Chocolate Plague. It's very vinegary, and it just has this doesn't have a good taste. The initial taste,
Okay.
it's not something you'd put on and be like, yum, this tastes good. Where like the Scorned Woman, it tastes good from the beginning, and then it gets hot, and then it's like it just that one seemed perfect for me.
So the other one was just it's hot.
It's just we're just gonna rip something to
we're gonna torture you. And this is what it is.
I think the company that makes Chocolate Plague, I think they're called something like Butt Pucker or something.
Lovely.
It's like it's like well that'll make something pucker,
exactly.
sure, because
something's happening there.
It's definitely crazy. So did you watch any of the NH All-Star game this weekend?
God, no.
Yeah, same here.
No.
I just
Are you kidding?
Since it's gone to the 3 versus 3 format and the whole, all that stuff, it was boring before when they played a full game because nobody played defense and the goalies just got lit up like crazy.
Scores were in the teens.
Oh my God. And it was, it was because nobody plays defense, nobody's hitting, nobody's checking.
Right.
It's like a pickup game. And the goalies are just hung out to dry. And I'm like, I always felt bad for the goalies that got picked for the All-Star games. Like, why would they want to even go participate in that? Because they know,
3-on-3 any better?
Hi, I'm one of the best goalies in the league, and I'm just getting, lit up like Swiss cheese. And and it's, how is that fun for them? And then the MVP's never the goalie.
Right, who saw 80 shots?
Yeah, exactly. And got scored on the top players in the NHL, nonstop. I remember the year that Ole Kolzig of the Washington Capitals went, and he they would play the full game, and every period they would put in a different goalie.
A new goalie.
So, and he played the third period of the Eastern Conference's game.
Right.
And I don't think he let in a goal. I think he had a shutout, and his team ended up scoring and then winning it. And then they give the MVP to whoever the forward was scoring the goals. And I'm like, what about Ole Kolzig, a goalie that shut out a team in an all-star game where you have no
every score?
Why was Kolzig not the MVP of I'm sure he didn't care about not getting the Chevy truck or whatever they give him and $20.
Who knows?
Yeah, a steak dinner or something. But
they do get paid, right, to go.
I don't know. I mean, they just get the recognition that they were all-stars, and
does it mean anything anymore?
Not
then?
really.
If that's what you're going
with?
Is that as a fan,
Ovechkin for the Caps doesn't really like going anymore because he's been there so many times, and he's just I'd rather have the week off so I can rest and get ready for the second half of the season because he's 30 some years in his mid-30s. He's on the back end of his career. He'd rather rest up for the playoffs and do that than go spend the week. When he was younger and party, sure, he loved it, but he's he can't officially say he doesn't want to go, but there was one season where he's like, oh, what if I don't go? And the NHL is like, well, we're going to fine you one game. So the first game back, you're going to have to miss and get it without pay. And, it was just like a little slap on the wrist. And he was like, oh, whatever, I'm not going to go.
Wow.
So, and then last year, he actually got injured. I'm doing air quotes.
Yeah.
Injured
that was good.
2 weeks before the All-Star game. So they had to send someone else from the team.
Right.
And then this year he got injured again a couple weeks ago.
Right.
But then they sent Tom Wilson, which is fine because, you
he's good.
You send Ovechkin every year. I mean, or try to, but I think it was just kind of known like
they vote them
Ovi's,
in. Right?
Ovi's had his thing. Let someone else go, because there's been other Caps players over the years, like, Oshie and Wilson and Backstrom and those guys that could have gone where they kept sending Ovi. So
Right. Well, okay,
anyway.
Wait a minute. So the selection committee is based on the owner of the team releasing the player
used to be
go.
fan voting.
I thought it was.
And I don't
It's
know what
not
it was this
anymore?
year because I honestly didn't even check on it to see what it was. So I don't know how they voted on the players this year.
It's always a popularity contest if that's the case. You leave it up to the fans and it's whoever's go. Everybody has their favorites, but then I don't know. The popularity contest part of it just doesn't seem like they earned their way in, even though they're popular
a couple
for a reason.
Seasons ago, they had the guy that was voted in who was a write-in vote. And he actually ended up getting voted in. I cannot remember the guy's name to save my life. He's one of those guys. Yeah, somebody fact check it.
Leave it in the comments.
Email us at pernandave@gmail.com. If you remember who the guy was, because he didn't play he hadn't even played like a full season in the NHL, but there were fans that were like, oh, we're gonna write him in and get him voted in. They got him voted in. I think he got the MVP because he did actually do really well.
Really, when he got there, he actually
I just
played.
Can't remember what
right?
his name was.
Yeah, okay.
So sorry, my hockey knowledge, should be better.
Hey, no.
So, well, speaking of other things we didn't watch, was there anything else?
The Grammys.
The Grammys.
The Grammys were just this last weekend, and there was, controversy about it being a cabal of Taylor Swift. Of course. And there were a couple.
Is anybody really fazed by it? I mean, if she's nominated for something, I just expect her to win at this point.
Right. Well, there was a whole upheaval about Beyonce not being nominated, and she should have been, or she should have been for I don't know, when Jay-Z got up there, he mentioned it.
I did not see any of it, so I don't know.
I didn't either.
I was at work.
These were all shorts and things that I saw in the news, so it's nothing I even understand.
The only thing that I saw from it was Taylor Swift was up on stage, and then she announced that, hey, my new record's coming out in April.
Was a big thing.
And it was like,
big thing.
Okay, so it's just
there's that
you
one. A
winning with
commercial.
publicity to get your new record that you don't need publicity for because like billions of people are going to buy it anyway. Like the second it comes out, you're going to have
There were performances that were, highlighted. Billy Joel played his new song at the end.
Oh, okay.
Supposedly at the end. And then Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish, yeah.
Yeah.
I like Billie Eilish.
I don't know names.
Well, I don't like Billie Eilish, but I love that new song, the one from the Barbie movie. I love that song.
Okay, yeah. So. She performed, and then there was a Stevie Wonder performed with somebody.
Did you see U2 from the Sphere?
No, was it?
Yeah, they were doing their show at the Sphere.
One?
No, I didn't watch it yet. I'm sure it's online because somebody mentioned it to me because I was at work.
Yeah.
And there's like, oh yeah, did you see U2 at the Sphere? And I said, no, I didn't. And they're like, yeah, they were doing it, from the Grammys. They were going to just like tap into their feed at the show at the Sphere.
They were playing live.
And show and do it live, for the Grammys.
That's nice.
And I was like, oh, I'm sure it'll be online. And I just haven't gone to go see it. I'm a huge U2 fan. So
I didn't know. They didn't highlight everything that played. Supposedly there was a Sinead O'Connor tribute by Lennox.
Annie Lennox?
Annie Lennox.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Cool.
And then also God, this is just from memory. There was a that's this song. The Fast Car.
Tracy Chapman.
She played there, and it got a double standing ovation kind of thing going
that's
on.
cool. Because that guy covered her song.
And he was there, I think.
Did they play it together?
Yeah, I think
was it Luke? Was it Luke Bryson?
Yeah.
Is that who it is? I don't know where I pulled that out from. That was his name.
That is very good. He showed up and they paired it in.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that was a thing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
The one thing with his cover of that really drove me crazy was that he didn't change one of the lyrics to I forget what it was, something about, bagging groceries in the grocery store. But it's the reference to her doing it, and he still sings it in the line in the song. He doesn't change it to him. He keeps it as a her. And I'm like, but you're a him. Whatever, whole other, like change the line. So like fits you. If he's singing the song about
I'm with you.
Being in a fast car.
real fast.
So I thought he should have changed that one line in the song, and he didn't. He still sang her exact lyric, but it was from her point of view, not the guy's point of view in the original song. But now he's singing it. It should have been from his point of view. Still not her point of view.
When
because
Tiffany
it's a him.
covered the Beatles song of Sorry Standing, she changed it to him, not her. So yeah.
Well, there you go, Tiffany.
Tiffany was well on the edge.
Or 85. Tiffany.
Why?
Way to go,
the
Tiffany.
hell do I remember that? I don't have any clue.
I don't know, but I think we're alone now. I think we're alone now. I think we just lost. Oh, that was my Tiffany.
Yes,
we just lost all our listeners on Tiffany.
Fell off
yes,
I
think we're alone now.
I can imagine that there aren't too many that understand that.
So no, I did not watch any of the Grammys. I just know Taylor Swift's new record's coming out April something.
Yes.
And I'm sure it'll be played in my house nonstop because my wife and my daughter love Taylor Swift.
There you go.
So, and then, did you see the, I don't know, it was the meme that NORAD has announced that they are going to track Taylor Swift's progress from Japan like Santa from Japan back to the Super Bowl so she makes it in time for the Super Bowl. I thought that was hysterical. And the little picture was Taylor Swift on the back of like Santa's sleigh being pulled with like the NORAD tracker.
Perfect.
I was like, that is too funny.
That'll work. I'm sure
NORAD's tracking her progress as she goes across.
So we'll have two reasons for NORAD to be broadcasting.
Right. Not just Santa in December, but now Taylor Swift travels from Japan to the Super Bowl.
Right. Perfect.
Which is great. So one other question that I raised to a coworker earlier this week that's sports related, since we're on, well, we went from sports to music, but anyway, circling back to sports real quick, is my friend, he actually works for the Washington Nationals during baseball season.
Okay.
So, because we're just outside Washington, D.C. And I asked him, I had this weird thought. I went to him, I said, do you think that like in 50 years from now that baseball will be a dead sport?
Wow.
Because, and the reasoning behind that is that in today's age, I work at an ice rink, and we have a lot of young employees that are high school, in college, just out of college age range. Their attention span is like that of a newt. It's just like, and they're on their phones. They can't, you start talking, they'll ask you a question, and then you reply to that question. And before you're halfway through or reply with another question, they're already on their phone thinking and doing something else. And I'm just like, Are we not? I thought we were in a conversation.
Keeping attention.
So with baseball, and everybody, always says baseball is such a slow sport. And blah,
that's why they
I love
up.
baseball. I love baseball. And one of the new things this year that, he told me that with baseball is, how last year they put the pitch counter timer in.
Yeah.
They're actually making that shorter this season.
Oh, well, perfect.
So they said games are going to be like 2.5 hours instead of 3 to 3.5 hours.
Why don't they just get a pitching machine out there? It'll speed it up completely.
Well, and why don't they have AI calling balls and strikes instead of umps? So they have it accurate.
True. Well, again, they have, the technology is there to actually
absolutely.
measure where the freaking ball crosses.
It is. Yeah, and it's more accurate than the umps.
Have you seen some of those where they actually show the percentage of correct or incorrect calls?
I haven't seen that.
The umps
I'd have to look for that.
It's kind of funny that they actually rank now the umps as bad or good based on this.
If they're making a good call or not.
Because the computers are tracking it all
right,
now.
And they can be exact and precise.
Right,
and
but
there's no
but
human
how
error
exact and
there.
precise should that be? I mean, a lot of the times we have games called and they lose because of a call.
Right, because of a call that should have been one way or the other.
Couldn't see it. And we have instant replay for some of those. And then we have reviews, and then we have all this other stuff. That's great. But if they really wanted to fix that, they would. They would be able to put a chip in the football to figure out where the freak the tip of the ball was when the guy fell.
I don't even think they need
dropped.
a chip in the ball anymore. I think they can just, I don't know.
So, I think if you wanted
going
as
back
accurate
to
as
my
it is for the baseball thing.
question. So do you think that in 50 years, because in 50 years from now, I'm not going to be around.
Right.
Do you think that the generations that were like, because there's still people that are, grandparents, great grandparents that, are still hardcore baseball fans, but the attention level is now dropped so much. Will it keep a sport like that, keep a fan base, or will it die out within, 50 years or so?
Right.
And will baseball still be a thing, or will it be non-existent? His reaction was, he goes, but you could really say that about any sport. And I'm like, yeah, but basketball, hockey, those are constant clock, constant moving. Something's happening. With baseball, there's a lot of standing around, a lot of players.
How many times do they have to be in that box of getting ready to hit? And they have to do all of their
time.
touching and adjusting, and then their foot positioning and digging in, and then they line up, and then they pull back, and then the pitcher decides he wants to step off the thing to throw to first.
Step off the rubber. And,
then the batter's got to do it all over again.
So, but now the counter clock will be shorter, but still, I just don't see the younger. I mean, I hate to sound like the grumpy old man. Hey, get off my lawn. But I just don't see younger generation staying in love with that sport like, you know, our generation and generations before us. I mean, baseball's been around for 100 plus years.
Right.
It's, you know, obviously not gone anywhere, but I think that something is going to have to change to keep it.
Right.
And it's a slight concern. I'm like, because I love baseball, and you know, like I you know, when the Nationals won the World Series, it was on my son's 10th birthday. It was his birthday that night. I let him stay up to watch the final game when the Nationals won the World Series. I will never forget that moment the rest of my life, and I hope he doesn't either.
Right.
And I hope that, you know, when he's older, he's like, oh my gosh, you know, that night, you know, because at this point, the Nationals might never win it again. So, I mean, can't say that. But
there's a lot that's got to line up for a team to actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And that year for the Nationals,
long.
it lined up for them and like then fell apart.
A lot of games.
Yeah.
Maybe if they cut back some of the games.
Yeah,
like
from
they don't
the
have to have
162 games.
Yeah, they don't have to have that many. I mean, any person in a sport just wears down and they grind you. Right. I mean, look at football players and concussions. Same scenario.
Gosh. Yes.
Right. They grind you, and then they spit you out on the other end, and then they don't take care of you.
No, they don't. So.
Unless you're that kind of personality where you come out on the other end and can actually, I guess, fend for yourself and come up with a job that's off from that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm calling it now. 50 years from now, baseball will be dead. I'll be dead and gone, and nobody, you know, so.
You don't think it's going to go the way of basketball?
Basketball, yeah, exactly. And the beers,
homogenized.
That's a psych out.
Well, dude, that's a psych. Well, I watch. It was the weirdest thing, but online they had these guys. They were playing wiffle ball baseball, and they throw 3 innings.
Baseball. Okay.
It's wiffle ball, really.
So it's kind of like, but going the same route with tennis, going to like pickleball.
Right. It's that thing where they just kind of cut it in half, made it smaller, and
everybody's playing pickleball.
Everybody's playing pickleball. Exactly. But this was a whole like tournament. There's like 6 or 8 teams in the whole thing. They all play each other and they go through the whole scenario. And it's just wiffle ball. It really is 3-on-3 wiffle ball, and they just have a single guy that kind of subs in sometimes,
which is kind of like the NHL All-Star game, 3-on-3, just play.
So they just kind of go at it. So, but again, is that really going to be a thing?
Span,
Hockey's the same thing. Baseball's going to cut down to 2.5 to 3 hours. You can't sit through a hockey game any shorter than that.
Right. Well, and with hockey games, they already did like. The intermissions used to be 20 minutes, and now they cut it down to like 18.
Right.
So they already cut time down to
6.
So the game would, but if that's, if that's 6 minutes to get us over to Krispy Kreme in DC, after the game.
I can go with that. Yes. I can go with that.
We wouldn't have made it that night.
No.
If it was still on 20-minute intermission.
Not at all. We would have totally missed it.
We wouldn't have made it to Krispy Kreme.
Dang it.
So. Okay, so just a thought. That was some random thought I had at work, and my friend who works for a Major League Baseball team, and I was like, "What do you think about this?" So, all right, so I have to get back to movies.
Okay. And I have go ahead. I have something with that. Yes.
So I've been just chomping at the bit since I finished the Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh yes,
I did finish it. It took me 4 nights to watch it. The first night was like 45 minutes, and then another 45 minutes an hour the next night. And then, because it was a 3.5 hour movie.
So you're kind of watching it like it was an episodal kind of.
Yes. I broke it apart like when it felt like there was like a natural, it's about an hour, and this is a good spot.
Did you see the little thing tick off like the films do?
Exactly.
Right. They have the little notice to change the reel.
Dave, young people won't know what that means because they're used to digital projection now. They have no clue what the little tick up in the corner means of when it changes reels.
Fight Club's the only one that makes a call back to that.
Right.
But yes.
So anyway, Killers of the Flower Moon, I finished it.
Yes.
And I have to say, I absolutely beg everyone listening to this, do not waste 3.5 hours of your life on that movie.
Really?
I completely was just, again, I think in our last episode, I made the comment about how I was 45 minutes in, and I'm like, I kind of already know where this is going. And I said, I'd be shocked if, the main character, Molly, if she turned
Major
around
twist.
and went and just like killed everybody with a shotgun or something. No, she doesn't do that. And it was, I just couldn't even. I sat there going, wow, I can't believe I spent 4 nights and 3.5 hours watching this movie, and that it's nominated for an Oscar to be Best Picture. I felt that the star power in it of DiCaprio and De Niro took away from the story, because you're watching it knowing it's Leo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro, and you've seen them do their thing before. I didn't see them as those characters. I saw them as Leo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro.
Sometimes you need to kind of suspend.
And I'm not saying they called it in. They didn't. They were doing their great job acting as they always do. But I never bought into Leo DiCaprio's character actually being in love with Molly, the American Indian woman, and they had kids together and whatever. From the whole premise is like, he's in this for the money, because these American Indians, they had this oil money that they discovered, and now they're all rich, and they so the white people are trying to come in and take that from them, and the only way they could figure that out is to marry into the culture, and then they were slowly killing them off so that they would get all of it. And I never bought into it that Leo DiCaprio really did love her, because from the initial thing, De Niro kind of, his character pushes him and says, hey, well, you need to, you should check, this woman out, and well, you should marry her, because then you could be, in stealing her stuff. And I was just like, it's all about, rich, greedy, all this stuff. And I just, it got to the last 45 minutes when, finally the whole, the left shoe drops, and like, they're like, oh, and now De Niro's in trouble, and like, they've been killing Indians, and, all this stuff, and the whole investigation, and the FBI comes into it, and Jesse Plimpton, who he comes in as like the FBI investigator.
Spoiler.
And spoiler.
Sorry.
Who I liked him much better in, was he in Breaking Bad, or was it in Better Call Saul? I don't know. It was in one of those, and he was also in the movie they did after Breaking Bad. Okay. Anyway, he comes in as the FBI agent and all this to do the interview and stuff, and they they basically are giving Leo DiCaprio a break if he turns in De Niro as the conspirator head, kind of. They're like, they're going to give him protection and all this stuff like that, and
whistleblower,
and all that, and it's just the whole. They wrap it up in the last 45 minutes. I'm like, we sat through 2.5 hours to get here. And then it's like, now let's just wrap it all up and like real quick, and like, okay, is he going to be guilty or not? And is he going to do it or not? And they literally end this. I'm spoiling it. So I'm saying, and trust me, people, I'm saving you 3.5 hours of your life by spoiling
not only
this.
saving me, but yes.
And you and the 3 listeners.
Right. And
so from watching this, they do the wrap up with this like old time radio show with like, the Foley artists on stage, make it rattling the, the keys and all this stuff, like, and then and then after this happened, we went back here, and then so, did this, and, this person did that. So instead of like at the end of the movie saying, this happened, they'll put the credits up where like, so-and-so went to jail for 20 years. And
throws it up there.
They do it in like an old-timey radio show way.
So
like,
they reported the fact that
and
this
then
was
the Osage Indians, they went here,
That's
and then,
different.
so-and-so's character did that. And like, and it was just like, so what just happened at the end of this?
An editing problem? Like,
I don't know, but Scorsese himself actually comes out and does one of the readings as one of the characters. And it was just like, okay, so you're doing like an Alfred Hitchcock thing, like, doing an appearance in your movie
just real quick.
But it was just the way it was wrapped up like that at the end. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And this is an Oscar nominated film. So believe me, everybody, save yourself the 3.5 hours.
You think it was overly
save
artsy?
Yourself. I said in our previous episode, I thought that it was shot and it looks fantastic. It looked too perfect. It didn't look period-y piece enough. Like everybody's costumes were clean and brand new. Like they literally just got made, fitted onto the actor, scene, roll. And it was just like, but you're back in this old, different era. And it's just like people's clothes would be worn a little different. They'd be worn and they wouldn't look super fresh and clean like they just came off the sewing machine.
Or out to the cleaners every day.
Yeah. And I just hard pass. Everybody, please save yourself the 3.5 hours. And so after I watched Killers of the Flower Moon and finished that, I went to Maestro next.
Okay. And was that different as far as what you would say is the costuming and story?
I'm halfway through it.
Okay.
And so, I'm just under halfway through it. It's all in black and white, which I have no problems with black and white, but it is Bradley Cooper doing his, you see, this is how things were back in those days. And I'm like, did I just not see this from the old time radio show on Killers of the Flower Moon? Is that that the Oscar nomination? Am I going to watch Oppenheimer and going, we're going to blow up a bomb, you see?
Here we go.
You see, here we go.
In the middle,
breaking news, a bomb is dropped, you see?
Is
you
that
see
the
here?
whole tie-in for every movie?
Don't talk to me like that. If you drop the bomb on us, we're going to drop a bomb on you.
We're taking
Do you
care
hear
of
that?
Yes.
Get the typewriter. This just in. I'm a little scared now with Oppenheimer, which comes out. I'll watch that on the 16th when it comes on Peacock.
Well, then you have to compare it and see if they do have a radio segment like that.
I'm halfway through Maestro. I literally was getting bored. I like Bradley Cooper a lot, and I see what he was doing and where he's going with it. And I just. I don't know. I was getting bored with it, so that might be enough. I will finish it. I will.
That's true story, right?
Yes,
that's a
absolutely.
biography
Yeah. Leonard Bernstein, and his wife, and how he's gay, and he has a partner who also then married a woman, but he kind of still loves him, and all this. And it's a great story. I mean, it's true story based off stuff. It's just the way that it's shot now, and like this black and white, old timey. You see, see.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm just.
Does that make it artsy? I mean, does that make it award worthy?
I think he's trying too hard to make it artsy and too hard to make an Oscar worthy film.
Wow. So is that the goal?
So when Bradley Cooper did A Star Is Born, which was the 7th remake of that or something like that.
Something like
that. It was still fantastic. Lady Gaga was great. I mean, he was great. It looked great. It just had this gritty rock and roll guy and in the same. I mean, it was just I really enjoyed that film, and I just felt that he's trying too hard. Like he goes, I got to get another Oscar nomination. I got to if I do this,
is that what it is?
Then I'll do.
Maybe
and then this is what
that's how you get the money, or you get the next movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe I guess, but anyway.
So,
but hey, I do have to report.
Okay,
I did my homework.
Did you watch it?
I did freaking watch Top
Gun Maverick.
I did watch the damn thing. And yes, go ahead. You obviously have something you need to ask me about.
So, okay. I watched Top Gun Maverick when it finally came on streaming on Paramount Plus or something like that.
True.
And I'm watching it. And as it's going on and going on and going on, and I'm like, you know what? I loved this movie the first time when it was called Star Wars.
What's that?
Because it's all about training these guys to go fly down these hills and these trenches, and then we'll go up over and do this crazy thing, and then go down and shoot this target that's only 3 meters wide. I bullseyed Womp Rats back at home in Beggar's Canyon back home with my T-17. It was just
right. And the missiles were on the top, right?
It's
and the missiles were on the top.
Exactly. And there's we got to avoid the missiles shooting in, and then we got to pull out and before it blows up. And I'm just like,
and we got to watch out for Darth Vader because he's going to catch us at the end.
Right. I liked it the first time when it was called Star Wars. You literally just remade Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope again. But with Maverick and Top Gun and
less technology.
And I was just like, are you kidding me? And people flocked to this movie like, oh my God, Top Gun was so great. I'm like, yeah, because you've seen it before 1,000 times.
You're reliving it. Well, again,
you've
this is
already
for another
seen this
generation
movie.
Too, so.
Oh my God. One of my workers at the rink who's younger, he was obsessed with it. He loved it. He was like, oh my God, Top Gun was so good. And he kept asking me, he was like, Pern, have you seen Top Gun? Have you seen Top Gun? Have you watched it yet?
Wow.
And I finally, after I finally watched it, I walked into him and I said, hey man, I watched Top Gun. And he goes, oh my God, what did you think? I said, I liked it the first time when it was called Star Wars. And his face just dropped.
Oh, you broke him.
He then realized, oh shit.
Oh, right.
It was just Star Wars. I'm like, exactly. Wow. And I'm like, that movie made so much money. And I'm like, people, you gotta read between lines. So I do have to say, the first 30 to 40 minutes when he's taking the plane out to break the speed record thing at the beginning.
Yes.
I mean, and that for me was such a Speed ripoff because the whole first act of Speed is the elevator before they ever even get on the bus and the bus thing happens. The whole first 25 minutes of Speed is this.
To set him up.
Right. And it was just like the whole elevator scene and all of that stuff. And then you got into like, it's the next day and, Keanu Reeves walking down the street and then, there's a bomb on the bus. And it was like, but they've already hooked you in for the first half hour of the movie.
Because you've already tied yourself
Not even thinking about it because they couldn't make just a movie that was about a bomb on a bus. They had to like give you something more to start it with.
Okay.
And I felt the same way with Top Gun Maverick. They had to give you something extra because they knew that all they had was a Star Wars script of bombing the Death Star again.
Right.
So here, let's open it up with him, him being, we're still seeing Maverick as like the rebel that he still is. And he's running from the authority, from the government, who's telling him to shut the program down. And I'm going to fly at, Mach 23 and or something and, break the barriers. And I was like,
wow.
I was like, I watched it once. I'm like, I will never watch it again. And now they're saying they're going to make another Top Gun movie. And I'm like, really? Do we have to? Really, Tom Cruise? Do we have to?
Well,
but they are making
Mission Impossible. So
they are. Well, he's making more Mission Impossible. So, but also on a side note, then they're finally doing a Beverly Hills Cop 4.
I saw that
which
too.
I think we did talk about. I don't remember if we talked about this on another episode.
About it.
But
I don't think we did.
My wife had never seen the first Beverly Hills Cop or any of the Beverly Hills Cop movies. So we watched Beverly Hills Cop, the first one, a couple weeks ago. And she was like, well, I see how it was funny for that time. And I'm like, funny for that time? That movie made Eddie Murphy. That put him on the map. That made him the comedic genius. I mean.
That's why he's Donkey.
I still yeah, exactly. That's why he was Donkey in Shrek. Still to this day, one of my favorite quotes is this the man who wrecked the buffet at the Harrow Club this afternoon? I love that quote because it is so funny the way he goes and he's like, can he hear us? And he goes, is this the man who favorite?
Wow.
Beverly Hills Cop. Loved it. I saw it in theaters. I must have been like 12 or 13. My parents took us and I just like laughed the whole time and thought it was hysterical. And my wife was like, yeah, it was funny. I can see how it was like popular then. Wow. And I'm just like,
wow. It's weird. It's weird checking out older movies now compared to movies that are seen as comedic now.
Right.
Compared to comedic then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were kind of easily amused, I think.
I think so. So you said you had you mentioned the Disney Jeopardy thing already.
Yes. So that was the tie-in.
What was the you said you had something else that was.
So if this thing pays off, right? Did you hear that this podcasting thing, if this thing pays off for some reason, if it does pay off for some reason,
actually, like,
right? Did you hear that Joe Rogan's making $250 million? For each podcast.
I know.
Does.
He's like he
for his contract at Spotify
because he has like a bazillion listeners that
and
listen
sponsors
to him.
and a whole
scenario.
Does he do
a show every day or is it just weekly?
Daily?
I don't know.
Jesus Christ! Could you imagine that
doing daily? Well, Howard Stern's done it for years.
Oh yeah, but
I mean, Howard Stern, and
he does great, and he has that charisma to do that.
Yeah.
I couldn't know. I don't know if I could find enough to talk about. I would have to be doing research every day and come out with stuff every day and talk about different things every day.
They have teams of people that like, okay, these are the topics,
right? But he's got to make that.
He picks and chooses what he wants to talk about. But he has people that bring stuff to him, and I'm sure he does his own research on his own. I mean, he's
God.
But to go from the guy that was originally on broadcast news with Phil Hartman and Andy Dick and. Dave Foley from
to the Voice of America.
He went from that to the Fear Factor.
Yes,
host of Fear Factor for God knows however many years, and then goes to this, and it was like,
he
and
does
now
the MMA stuff too, doesn't he?
Right, and I think that's where a lot of his tie-in stuff is with the MMA, and that he has with that, and he has a lot of cross. Yeah.
Right.
Listeners from so he's done a fantastic job. So bravo to Joe for making a career. And
you got to be your own product.
Absolutely.
I think if that's going to be the case, and he does a great job doing that, and that's
great
what he has. Yeah, exactly.
But as you would say, that being said, I've never listened to his show once, so I don't know.
I only see bits and pieces because they're in my feed. But
good for Joe.
I do. Yes, and he has tons of people coming out and actually on his show. So he has celebrities. He's got a steady stream of people coming and delivering content,
which is
that's
great
what you
because
get.
Because one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to is Smartless with Jason Bateman and Will Arnett and Sean Hayes, and I've almost listened to every episode of their show going back because they started during COVID, and I love those guys. I was always already a fan of them before they ever started a podcast, and that's why I started listening to the podcast. I was like, oh, because I like these guys.
Right.
So I mean, loved Ozark, loved Bateman. Lego Masters and Arnett goes back to, and Arrested Development, all the stuff. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It. So, and with Sean Hayes, I really knew nothing about Sean Hayes. I never really watched Will and Grace. I think I've only seen one episode of Will and Grace my entire life. It was funny because I like Deborah Messing.
Right.
But it was just not a show that I watched. And, but I think Sean Hayes is fantastic. I think he's hysterical. And I love listening to him now. I actually kind of want to go back and maybe watch some old Will and Grace episodes because, it got Emmys. It won, and it was because it was a sitcom groundbreaking at the time because it was like even before like Ellen came out, kind of thing.
Right, exactly.
And so I should go
yes.
back and watch some Will and Grace because I probably will enjoy it because like I said, I like Deborah Messing and I really like Sean Hayes now. So
well, you'll get the it was funny for the time.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Or you're saying that's what my reaction would be. I'll watch it.
Right.
Well, it was funny for the time.
Then, I guess. So, I don't know.
I went back and I started watching old episodes of The Fall Guy with Lee Majors.
Oh, geez, really?
God, I love The Fall Guy. I used to watch that. It used
did
to
it hold up?
Oh no, it's terrible.
Right.
And it used to come on in reruns on Channel 5 here in DC at like 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning on the weekends on Saturday, Sunday mornings.
Okay.
So I would literally watch back-to-back episodes of The Fall Guy before I would go to bed. And so like when that 3 o'clock episode ended at 4 o'clock, I'm like, all right, bedtime, and I'd go to sleep. And so, but it's on Amazon Prime, I think, right now. And I started going back and I watched, the original episodes. I had one episode on and my youngest son comes in and he's like, this looks terrible. That's what I said. No, but it's about stuntmen who are bounty hunters and they go after it. And he's just like, but man, yeah, that looks terrible because the green screen stuff they do in it. And there were actually some scenes where they really did the stunts too.
Well, yeah, they had practical effects in it too, right? Cars blowing up, twisting,
absolutely
turning.
jumping over
because
ramps
they were
and flipping over.
They were doing the stuntmen tie-in.
Yes,
right?
exactly. So there was some stuff in it that was actually really good. But then, like when they do the close up of them in the car, it's obviously like green screen in the background.
Yes.
But like they'll do a wide shot that's
in the
real,
car, and it looks like crap.
Yeah, it's just like you see the background,
just
jumping up and down.
Yeah,
because
there's no way
car.
they're going to have someone dragging a car behind a truck.
There were no shocks on cars back in that day.
That.
Like they just shook all over the place.
They just bounced. No, the roads were horrible in the day.
They just it was bouncy everywhere. So was that your last correction that you had on that other one?
It is actually yes. I think
okay.
Until
So
I get more.
I've got one more.
We haven't actually anyone has listened to my other stuff, but yeah.
Right. I'm sure we'll get more.
Oh my gosh, yes, I'm sure.
So
fact checking.
My last thing. This is something that has bothered me for years, and it comes from again working my job at the rink.
Yeah,
and I will go into. We have a public restroom at the rink, and we go in, and it has 3 urinal stalls.
Okay,
or 3 urinals, and then 3 stalls.
You go in the men's room.
In the men's.
Okay,
men's
I would hope. Yes,
I use the men's room to go to the bathroom. Yes.
Well, you work there, so maybe you clean the women's.
Well,
room.
Later at night when we're closed and there's nobody in, I do go in and I have to sweep and
right.
At the end of the night make sure it's good. But that's fine.
Right.
But that's a whole other story.
Right.
This story is about the men's room.
Okay.
I go into the men's room and there are 3 urinals, and there's an etiquette that is like just an unwritten rule of men. Like, so if you're the first one that comes into the men's room,
right,
you pick one of the
Out of
urinals.
3. We're at 3.
We're at 3 right now. You pick one on the end.
Yes.
You don't go straight to the middle one.
Right, because you won't give a buffer for anybody.
Right. And if you come into a men's room and there is one person already at an end one, you don't go to the middle one.
You don't go to the middle.
You go to the other end one.
The buffer.
And even though we have like the divider wall, the privacy wall between the urinals, so, there's no like, hey, look over there.
Right.
None of that's going on. Still, you don't.
Even if it's the kid urinal, the lower one.
Oh my God. I've used the kid urinal. I've walked in and there'll be somebody at the other end. And I'm like, because it's an etiquette. It's like it's a guy thing, and you just you don't just go stand next to the next guy.
At a stadium,
when
that doesn't seem to work. But yes,
in a stadium of 18,000 people, yes,
and they're all piled into the men's room.
Absolutely, you just take whatever one's next. You go.
You were lucky to get
the worst was at the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. they don't even have urinal. They just had the big stall, like the big. It looked like a
it's
bathtub
one long
on the wall,
tub, right?
with the ice on the end. They'd like throw ice on the end, and it would
Serious?
melt, and it would like then be the water filtered to
Are you
ground.
kidding?
And you walked up to this like huge long looks like
Bathtub.
and everybody just pees in it.
Wow.
It was the weirdest thing when I went to the Joe Louis Arena the first time.
Right.
And I will never forget this because I walk in and we were running to get into the game before it starts. And we walk in, I'm like, I've got to go to the bathroom so bad. And I'm like, okay. So my friends were like, they were waiting for me at the entrance to go down to the seats. I run into the bathroom and I'm standing there. I'm like, where do I pee?
You
and
see
then
a
I'm
giant
like,
sink.
And I'm just like, and then like I saw this one guy like walk over and start going. And I'm like, oh, okay. We just go do it over here. And so I go walk up and I start to pee. And as soon as I pee, I hear dun 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 dun. So I'm like,
Jesus.
I'm peeing on the Joe Louis Arena as the national anthem starts.
Lovely.
I'm just like, this is a moment I'm never going to forget.
Right. Well, that's not the strangest thing I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen those before, but then the ones that go from like shoulder height, but go all the way to the floor.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And the drain's actually in the floor. So it's like, what
those
the
are very
hell?
old. Yeah, like old school kind of thing.
Jesus.
So anyway, so going back to the etiquette thing,
Yes,
it's
the
just like, guys, if you're listening to this out of the 3 people, which is probably just one of you, if we're lucky.
Yes.
Yeah, when you go in the bathroom, don't go stand right. You got to put the buffer in. You can't just go like stand that it's uncomfortable. It's, people are shy.
Right.
It's just one of those things.
Okay, but
and then,
let's say there were 2 already in there.
Right.
And
Well,
the
then you
third
just
one's
walk up to the
only
third
one.
one. Yeah,
Right.
you walk
so
up to the third one.
You kind of have to by default.
Right. You just use what's available. But if you're first in, you use one on the end. If you're second one, you use the other one on the end. And if you're the third person in, you just walk up to whatever's available.
And that's if there's 3. If there's 5, it's same scenario. You break them up, buffer.
Right. So, and then the other thing, so whatever happens in the women's room, I have no idea because believe me, at the end of the night when I go in the women's room, there is so much toilet paper and crap all over the floor. Not little crap, but toilet paper and stuff all over the floors.
That's weird.
And they don't flush the toilet. We don't have self-flushing toilets. You just have to like push the little thing down. They don't flush the toilet. They just like pee and walk away and just like there's just toilet. It's like, was there a toilet paper party in the women's room? It's literally like, did they just start throwing it around the women's room like streamers or something? It was just,
that's weird.
I do not know. The women's room is always the messiest of everything.
That's interesting.
So women, I don't know what's going on there, but
well, we don't have experience in that.
I'll clean it up at the end of the night, but we've let you in on some of the guy code. So
exactly.
But one of the other things,
kind of get a handle on the toilet paper.
The one thing and the last thing that I'll mention about the bathroom thing too, which again goes back to an earlier comment about people's attention span. I will literally see guys walk in to the urinal, stand there, unzip, and with their free hand pull up their cell phone.
Oh my!
And they're checking their email or they're texting somebody, and I'm just like. Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Oh God.
You literally can't take the 30 seconds to pee without looking at your phone.
That's weird.
To check something.
That's a little bizarre.
Like,
and then you're just taking that onto your phone so you can get pink-eyed later. Really? I mean, that's kind of what you're thinking about.
I don't know.
Well, I always had a problem with people leaving the bathroom without washing their hands, but that's more of an etiquette thing too.
Yeah. So true.
Well,
I always wash my hands. I wash my hands religiously, like at work, because it's just the things that people. Yeah.
Well, Well, you're the public, so seeing anyone coming in or going out could have not washed their hands.
And I see that all the time too. Guys will go to the bathroom and then just walk right out. I'm like, did you forget to stop over here at the sinks? We have the little soap dispensers where you don't have to touch it. They just
it's just
spurts the stuff on your hand.
It's all automatic.
Our sinks are automatic. You just put your hands down. The water flows out. You don't have to touch it. Our paper towel dispensers. Our paper towel dispensers are automatic. All you have to do is put your hand under it, and it senses you there, and we'll give you a paper towel.
Shoots out a towel.
You don't have to touch anything.
Well, yeah, I use your free shells.
Properly clean. Yeah, use free shells. What is that used for? That's a throwback one, right? Anybody know that one? You can email us about that one too.
You can put that in the comments.
Put that one in the comments too.
Well, I let Lisa know. I tell her just don't shake that guy's hand when we walk out of restaurants and things. And
if we meet somebody,
that guy that just came out, don't shake his hand. Don't even come near him.
Do fist bumps.
Don't even touch them, man. Oh my God.
I don't know.
You don't even know what's on them. All right. At that point.
So, all right. So cool. I don't know what we have coming up this week, but yeah, it's been a good week. And I guess we'll just.
Well, I should have a greenhouse report. I don't think we're going to be building it because I do have to make an extension on the greenhouse decking. But we could have an update on the greenhouse, maybe.
Okay. So
that's really all I got. I don't think I got much else coming up.
Yeah, and hockey's now back on because All-Star breaks over.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Bowl, yes. Is this
I'll
nice?
have a
So
chili
we'll
report.
I'll
have a chili report.
Super Bowl stuff to talk
and
about.
commercials.
All
Oh,
right.
Jesus Christ. We'll have
I
commercials.
had someone at work ask me the night, said, "Oh, Pern, who are you rooting for in the Super Bowl?" I said, Taylor Swift. I want Taylor Swift.
There you
I
go.
mean,
I
the
want
Chiefs.
Taylor Swift
wait.
to show up. I hope she makes it.
I hope she makes it. We'll be tracking NORAD to see if
we'll be making sure
she makes it in time.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
But the commercials, so they're already dripping some of the commercials out.
I stopped watching those years ago.
We'll have to have a. I'm pretty sure some of them are going to.
Okay, I'll go online the next day because was it YouTube does always the channel that shows all of them or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll watch those then on Monday.
I mean, there was a lot of money.
And try to have that ready
at
for
least
Tuesday.
you could kind of have. Watch those like the movies
right.
and catch up on movies. Oh, is there a movie you need me to watch too?
Oh, I don't know. Top Gun Maverick was the one
that was the one
that has been on me for.
Perfect. Okay. Perfect.
Ages.
Not a problem. Well, I'll tag you with a movie next time.
Okay. Well, I'm still working through Oscar movies because I found there's a couple on Netflix right now that I can watch, and I'm going to watch those after Maestro, and we'll have more to talk about that too.
Perfect.
So we still have a couple weeks till the Oscars.
That's true. That's true.
All right. So we'll see you next week.
Yep. Not a problem. Have a good one.
Later.
Bye.
Bye. Pern and Dave, Let's Talk is brought to you by, well, Pern and Dave and Oceanic Airlines. And the good people at By and Large.
Why buy one when you can buy 50?
Till next time.